Hello fellow citizens, so Metaverse is George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 17th of March 2023. Now look guys, in the world of finance, there is a lot of chaos going on in US and banks are going belly up. What is really crazy is other banks are trying to save other banks. Now this is definitely the times resembling the 2008 financial crisis. So the big question is, why was Bitcoin created? Now Bitcoin was created precisely for this reason. Now, because this is a Metaverse related only podcast, I'm going to be covering this news so far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned in the world of Metaverse. And in today's episode, we will definitely look at stablecoins, and I'm going to be sharing where the stablecoins role fit in the Metaverse. So I'll go ahead and explore the pros and the cons of using stablecoins. And look guys, Metaverse technology is at least a decade away from mainstream adoption. And once Metaverse gets mainstream, what happens to mobile phones? Will virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality replace mobile phones? What are your thoughts? I definitely do think so. And the founder of Nokia definitely echoed the same theme. As a matter of fact, he actually said, in 5 years down the line, we might see the usage of mobile phones on the decline. So we'll definitely go and explore that in today's episode. And guys, in today's episode, we're also going to be discussing policing in the Metaverse. And a month ago in my Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about Interpol, who is definitely looking at policing the Metaverse. But what happened last week is that there was World Police Summit, and the Dubai Police Headquarters were the one who arranged the entire event. And at that event, they also discussed the dark side of Metaverse. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about what the UAE authorities are considering to tackle the dark side of Metaverse. And guys, like we do in every Metaverse Everything podcast, I'm going to be discussing the top 5 Metaverse news from around the world and top 5 Metaverse news from Dubai. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Welcome to Metaverse Everything, the ultimate destination for virtual and augmented reality enthusiasts. The Metaverse is a vast and expanding universe of possibility, and in our show we aim to bring you coverage of every aspect of this exciting new frontier. From gaming and entertainment to socializing and work, the Metaverse is changing the way we live and interact with each other. Each week, we will bring you expert guests who will discuss the latest trends and technologies in the augmented and virtual reality industry and offer practical tips for getting the most out of your Metaverse experience. We'll also explore the social and cultural implication of this rapidly evolving realm and how it's changing the way we communicate and connect with each other. Plus, we'll keep you up to date on the latest Metaverse news from around the world and Dubai and the UAE. Whether you are a seasoned augmented reality or virtual reality enthusiast or just getting started, Metaverse Everything has something for you. Join us as we journey into the Metaverse and discover all it has to offer. From the latest games and apps to the most cutting-edge hardware and software, we'll bring you the inside scoop on everything you need to know to fully immerse yourself in this exciting new world. So tune in and join us on a journey into the Metaverse. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or new to the world of augmented reality and virtual reality, the Metaverse is something for everyone, and we can't wait to share it with you on Metaverse Everything. Now guys, since we've taken care of that, let's look at the process of cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse. And the entire last 2 weeks have been absolutely chaotic in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And few days ago guys, the CPI numbers were out, and because of that, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies definitely went up to the moon, and it gradually went down as well. Now since the last 24 hours though, the cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse are definitely looking green. But if you were to compare it to last month, that is February, the numbers are definitely below what it was. So I'll just run through it. Now guys, on the 17th of February, exactly a month ago, the market cap of cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that were connected to Metaverse was hovering around the $15.3 billion mark. Today, the 17th of March, it is down by $1 billion and it is $14.4 billion. And the 24-hour trading volume is little below the $2 billion mark and stands at $1.97 billion. Now since the last 24 hours though, it is down by 31.79%. But look guys, if the numbers are looking green, it just means that people are buying these coins. So definitely positive outlook. Now it's going to be really interesting to see the prices of these coins when Jerome Powell announces the interest rate. I very strongly feel that he might increase the interest rate hike. But if that thing happens, there is a very high possibility that cryptocurrency and blockchain protocols that are connected to Metaverse, the prices will drastically go down. So let me just run through the top 5 coins and tokens. ApeCoin is currently at $4.26. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 7.43%. Decentraland or Mana is at 58 cents, and since the last 24 hours it is up by 3.38%. Since the last 7 days it is up by 13.88%. And guys, in the month of January, Decentraland did pump up by well over 150%, and so did Sandbox by 80%. Now, as of today, Sandbox is 60 cents. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2.38%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 14.34%. Axie Infinity or AXS is at $8.15. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 2.67%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 11.18%. Theta Network or Theta is at $1.03. And since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 0.61%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 15.85%. Now look guys, there's a lot of chaos going on in the banking industry. And in my Crypto and Coffee 88 podcast, I did talk about two banks that completely got liquidated, because of which one of the stablecoin issuers, they had a terrible time as well. Now if you do want to find out more about that, listen to my Crypto and Coffee 88 podcast. Now because the market is in a turmoil, Facebook or Meta, they seem to have shied away from Metaverse as well. And the news is that Meta is rather relatively quiet on Metaverse, and they're focusing now on advanced artificial intelligence. And look guys, since the last few months, ChatGPT and now GPT-4 has definitely taken the world by storm. And Mark Zuckerberg guys did share a message to its Meta employees, and the letter is called as Update on Meta's Year of Efficiency. And what that letter essentially states is that Meta is building the future of human connection, and what he wants to focus on is some of the updates. So essentially in that letter, that his goals are to make a better technology for the company and to improve the financial performance, particularly in difficult environment. So what I'd really recommend you to do is definitely read through the letter. Now CNN has published an article which says, what's Metaverse for Meta? Because Meta is focusing heavily on advanced artificial intelligence. And guys, lately a lot of cryptocurrencies that are connected to artificial intelligence have definitely pumped up as well. But I'd really caution you guys, because a lot of them are definitely not looking good, and they are just trying to utilize the hype of ChatGPT and advanced artificial intelligence to pump up the coin. Now because this is a Metaverse related podcast, let's talk more about Metaverse. Now what are your thoughts guys? Will virtual reality, augmented reality and mixed reality replace mobile phones? Now the time period that you need to look at is at least a decade from now. And my big question is, will Moore's law still be applicable in the Metaverse? Now you need to understand, Moore's law states that the number of transistors on a microchip doubles about every 2 years, though the cost of computers is half. And this Moore's law was created by Gordon E. Moore going back to 1965, who was also the co-founder of Intel, and he actually made this invention. So what are your thoughts guys? So far as the Moore's laws are concerned, will it still be applicable? And what you need to understand is, in the next coming years, probably in the next coming decades, one of the biggest changes that we might anticipate and actually should happen in the world of Metaverse is the logging in. So rather than using your email address, one should be using your Web3 logging in. That is your private key, which is connected to your public key, which is connected to your public address. That is one use case of Web3 merging with Metaverse. And guys, I tend to have interviews with CEO and startups, particularly of those guys who are working in the Metaverse industry. And I tend to ask them this question, will the Metaverse economy be bigger than the current world economy? And to be honest, I'm getting a mixture of reaction. Now the reason I tend to ask this question is I want to find out, will the Metaverse economy will compete with the real world economy? Now one thing really critical to understand is guys, Metaverse will only survive if the user experience in the Metaverse is at least 10 times better than what we are currently experiencing. So let's say just switching WhatsApp services to Metaverse will not cut it. The Metaverse experience needs to be 10 times better. Now imagine social media on Metaverse. Imagine movies on Metaverse where you're able to interact with sports stars, with athletes or even fans, and the communication will be 10 times better. Now keeping all these things in mind, I do have this feeling that in a couple of decades or maybe in the next 5 years, augmented reality and mixed reality headset may make mobile usage completely obsolete. What are your thoughts? Now you need to understand, once Metaverse goes mainstream, the size of the virtual reality headset or the augmented reality headset will probably be like wearing sunglasses. Now you might wonder, why would you wear sunglasses at home? But listen guys, before the invention of mobile technology, if you were to tell someone that would you keep a handheld device probably 24 hours a day right next to your bed, I'm pretty much sure people would have disagreed to it. So, you need to understand when you talk about Metaverse, it's going to have a full immersive and interactive experience. But if Metaverse offers a 10x better user experience than, let's say, what you're experiencing in laptops or in mobile phones, it's only then that Metaverse could make mobile phones completely obsolete, and you need to have smaller devices. And this augmented reality headset or virtual reality headset should be in a position where users will be able to use it for at least a minimum of 6 to 8 hours. And to be honest, guys, if you're following the investment tech giants are doing, particularly focusing on user experience, it's absolutely massive. And one thing which I did mention earlier on, guys, movies, sports, and live events will definitely have a much better user experience in the metaverse. And if you've been following UFC, later in the year, UFC also plans to have some of the events to be displayed only in the metaverse. Now, keeping all these things in mind, I do feel that metaverse, probably in a decade's time or so, could be on the verge of replacing mobile phones. But while I'm thinking that, I also think once mobile phone was created, did it actually replace laptops? And what about laptops? Has laptop replaced desktop computers completely? Now, I know a couple of friends who absolutely do not use laptops at all. They live only on mobile phones. So look around at your friends and colleagues. I'm pretty much sure you would know at least a couple of them who live their lives only on mobile phones. And talking about desktop computers, if you look in your household, I'm pretty much sure we don't have any desktop computers anymore. We have probably 3 to 5 laptops. Another important thing, guys, to remember is, particularly in developing countries, in underdeveloped and developing countries, the mobile penetration is much higher than the banking penetration. So for tech giants, it becomes much more easier to start selling virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality headset. And you also need to remember, right now the cost of these headsets are ridiculously expensive, but as economies of scale gets better, these products will be cheaper. And guys, listen, you might be a massive detractor of Meta, but Meta's goal 1 year down the line is to have the virtual reality headset using certain elements of mixed reality, and the price tag that they have kept is $100. Now keep in mind, this $100 will kind of be competing with your mobile phones. Now, keeping all these things in mind, if they offer a 10x better user experience, I definitely do feel that mobile phones could be a thing of the past. Now, guys, let's discuss some really crucial information, and this is policing in the metaverse. And a few weeks ago on my Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about Interpol, who's definitely trying to take policing the metaverse quite seriously. So my big question is, guys, when you talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and codes, should codes be the one who should be regulating the metaverse? Or should it be the government bodies who should be policing the metaverse? What are your thoughts? Because if you look at it, what is it constitutes good and what is it that constitutes bad? Now, if you've been following politics, there are completely opposite reaction to what is good, what is bad, what is woke culture might be treated something absolutely positive in one political spectrum, the other political spectrum is treated as completely negative. So it's really critical that we truly understand when you talk about policing the metaverse, should it be done by the governing body or can it be done by code? And this, guys, goes back to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin solved the double spending problem by merging cryptography, hashing algorithm, and mathematics. And guys, if you learn business, there's this whole notion, think global, act local. Will that notion still be applicable in the metaverse? And can local rules still be applied to where the person is logging in from? And hopefully people start using Web3 login in rather than email address or passwords when they log into the metaverse. Another thought what I think of is, let's say in a metaverse, if let's say you have a religious event, do we follow the religious laws in the metaverse or do you follow the laws in the area where you're logging in from? This is just a thought. Now, policing in metaverse is definitely gaining a lot of attention, and in Dubai on the 7th and 9th, there was a World Police Summit, which was arranged by Dubai Police Headquarters, and the UAE authorities did actually look at how to police the dark side of the metaverse. And guys, metaverse has a dark side, and it needs regulations, legislations, and execution procedures, such as how to arrest a person in virtual reality and quite a lot more. And this statement was said by Brigadier Jassim Al-Ntail from Abu Dhabi Police Academy. So what are your thoughts, guys, on policing the metaverse? And when you talk about age limit, should there be an age limit to get into the metaverse? How will this thing work? And guys, when you talk about policing in the metaverse, experts have also pointed out that trademarks, patents, and other intellectual properties need proper legislation to decide legal disputes in the virtual worlds, and companies must protect their assets in Metaverse and ensure that their trademarks are safeguarded. However, guys, it is relatively easy to counterfeit items in the Metaverse by copying existing trademarks from real life. Now, the situation becomes even more complicated if someone copies a trademark from a virtual reality to another. There is a need for legislation and protection to deal with such issues. If you do have any feedback or comments or suggestions, mention them in the comments below. Another challenge, guys, what I think of is the jurisdictional issue. Prosecutors face difficulties in deciding which jurisdiction to use if a crime happens in the Metaverse. So it is unclear at this point of time how law enforcement can arrest someone in virtual reality, and this lack of clarity makes legislation void, and there is a need for proper legal mechanism to resolve disputes that may arise in the Metaverse. And Ahmad Musabil, the Director General of Dubai Customs, pointed out that protecting intellectual property rights is becoming increasingly important given that UAE is known for foreign trade growth. The UAE has updated its legislation and increased punishments to crack down on counterfeit items, and the fines for intellectual property crimes range between 100,000 to 1 million dirhams, up from the previous range of 5,000 to 10,000 dirhams. Now, it's going to be really tricky how we can get all of these things implemented in the Metaverse, particularly if you're using Web3 login. It's going to be really difficult to find out your true identity. Now, guys, let's discuss medium of payment in the Metaverse. Now, obviously, there are different modes of payment that can be used in the Metaverse. You could use your fiat currency, you could use Bitcoin, you could use cryptocurrency. In the near future, you might also be able to use central bank digital currency. But in today's episode, I'd like to discuss the role of stablecoins in Metaverse. And guys, listen, last week there was a lot of drama going on in the world of stablecoins, and stablecoins will become an important method in the Metaverse, which offers different benefits such as price stability, low transaction fees, and interoperability. However, guys, stablecoins also come with drawbacks such as centralization risks, limited acceptance, and regulatory risks. As the Metaverse continues to develop, stablecoins are very strongly believed are expected to play a critical role in facilitating transactions and commerce in the virtual world. And guys, despite the challenges, stablecoins offer a promising solutions for payments in the Metaverse, and the adoption most likely is definitely going to keep growing stronger. So if you look at the benefits of stablecoins, they definitely have price stability, interoperability becomes so much more easier, the transaction fees are completely low, and the security is definitely top class. And you can also call that stablecoins are fairly decentralized in comparison to, let's say, fiat currencies. Now, if you look at the drawbacks, there is heavy centralization risks, particularly when you talk about issuers of stablecoins. And at the moment, there is limited acceptance, and there is also counterparty risks, particularly when you talk about algorithmically backed stablecoins, and also volatility risk, something which in the cryptocurrency world we experienced with Circle USDC, where the depegging went down to 88 cents. And there are also regulatory risks, so you need to identify if the stablecoins are acceptable in the area that you're living in. And guys, one of my questions which I often ask in my Crypto and Coffee Day podcast is, once central bank digital currencies goes mainstream, will that be a threat to the stablecoins? Now, you need to understand that stablecoins, the value is rather relatively stable, they're easy to use, and when you talk about content creators in the Metaverse, it becomes easier to tip with stablecoins as opposed to, let's say, Bitcoin. Because let's say in the past, if you tip someone 5 Bitcoins, all of a sudden the tip value goes increasingly high, and you may regret that you might have not done that in the first place. So stablecoins using to tip content creators might definitely be much better. And if you talk about stablecoins, guys, if you look at the usage of stablecoins is well over 94% than regular cryptocurrencies. And when you talk about stablecoins, they can definitely bank the unbanked in just a matter of a couple of seconds. There is no KYCs, there is no AML, everything can be connected through your private key. And the biggest feature, guys, of stablecoins, particularly Tether USDT, is easy liquidity. Now, will all these things work in the Metaverse? I definitely do think so. And as and when time develops, I'm pretty much sure we're going to be seeing certain protocols that even offer you interest in the Metaverse, where you're able to stake your stablecoins and quite a lot more. And guys, one of the biggest features of stablecoins is, because the value is stable, you can also create a smart contract and have subscription services in the Metaverse. Now, when you talk about the positives of stablecoins in the Metaverse, you also need to remember that stablecoins do not follow the ethos of open blockchain, and your transactions can be censored absolutely at will, something similar to what happens in the fiat currencies. Your account that is connected to stablecoins can also be blocked in case any direction is given by a governing authority and quite a lot of other. And in the past, guys, when you talk about stablecoins, we did see a lot of depegging, particularly USDC last week, and last year we also looked at Terra Luna that completely wiped off billions of dollars. And guys, once central bank digital currency goes mainstream, it could potentially have a threat to stablecoins as well. So those are my thoughts and opinions, guys. Now let's look at the top 5 metaverse news from around the world. And the first one is an event that is going live today, and this is the Metaverse Opera, and the Teatro Real will become the first lyrical theater in the world to broadcast an opera live in the Metaverse, and Dmitry Shostakovich's The Nose will go live at 7:30 a.m. CET, and the avatar surfing in the Utopian, the first Spanish Metaverse, will be able to watch The Nose live in the fun, dreamlike, daring, and causing staging by Barry Kosky and musical direction by Mark Wigglesworth. And the virtual performance will be offered in a 3D replica of the Teatro Real in the Metaverse, where avatars will be able to sit comfortably to watch the opera, observe and interact with other meta spectators present in the hall. So it's definitely going to be really cool, and I'm pretty much sure you're going to see some reviews of that on YouTube as well. Now the second news, guys, is a partnership for streaming services, and this is between Hayden and Pixelmax. So the news is that Hayden and Pixelmax expand partnership for Metaverse streaming solutions, and the two companies will develop the infrastructure needed to power streaming services in the Metaverse. So definitely brilliant use case. Now the third news, guys, is an absolutely shocking news, and this is all the way from South Korea. Now as you know, guys, K-pop is definitely making a lot of news in the music world, and Metaverse K-pop girl band called MAVE has gone completely viral, and I believe the video has surpassed well over 20 million views. And MAVE, which is a K-pop girl band, looks like any other idolized K-pop band, except it only exists virtually. Its 4 members who are Siu, Xena, Tara, and Marty, and they were live in the Metaverse as well, and the songs, dances, interviews, and even the hairstyles are created 100% by web designers and artificial intelligence. Now, is this the future of music? I really am not sure, guys, because my niece is a massive fan of K-pop, and when I asked her about this band, she said that they are absolutely phenomenal. And guys, I was just reading through some of the reviews, and some of the K-pop fans absolutely love this band. So looks like this is the way to go forward. Now guys, let's discuss some Metaverse related news. So far as ETF is concerned, and Analytic Insights has provided a list of 10 Metaverse ETFs. So if you're someone who's into investing, I would definitely recommend you to read through the article, because they have mentioned a list of 10 Metaverse ETFs. So let me just read out the 10 Metaverse ETFs. The first one is First Trust Index Metaverse, the second Roundhill Ball ETF, the third Horizon Global Metaverse, the fourth Evolved Metaverse ETF, the fifth Subversive Metaverse ETF, the sixth 21 Shares Decentralized ETP, which is an exchange-traded product, the seventh Fidelity Metaverse ETF, the eighth Simplify Vault Equity Web3 ETF, ninth ProShares Metaverse ETF VER, and finally 10th the Found Metaverse ETF. And guys, if you read through the report, it has an amalgamation from ETFs from all around the world. Some of them are from Nasdaq US, some of them are from Canada, and some of them are from Switzerland as well. So definitely read through the article. Now guys, the next news is about fashion in the Metaverse, and Vogue has published a report which states that Metaverse Fashion Week returns with a focus on future heritage. And Metaverse Fashion Week, the virtual series of fashion-focused events that began last year, will return to Metaverse real estate platform on Decentraland, and this is going to last for 4 days, which is going to start from the 28th of this month. And look guys, when I started my Metaverse Everything podcast exactly a year ago, there were quite a lot of news regarding fashion in the Metaverse. So it looks like we're definitely going to see more news where fashion merges with Metaverse. Now guys, let's discuss top 5 Metaverse news from Dubai and UAE. And the first news is a massive news, and this is a partnership between DMCC, which is Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, and South Korea. So the news is DMCC has partnered with key South Korean entities in blockchain and metaverse industries during packed roadshows in 2 cities in South Korea, and they have signed 2 memorandum of understandings in blockchain and metaverse field as it seeks to expand Dubai's leading position as a hub for Web3 businesses across the world. And guys, this is absolutely massive news. And guys, the Memorandum of Understanding was signed with the Korea Blockchain Industry Promotion Association, also called as KBIPA, and Sangam City during DMCC's Made for Trade live shows in South Korea. Both Memorandum of Understanding seek to advance the development and application of Web3 technologies globally, including through affording growth opportunities to South Korea Web3 companies by supporting them in setting up at the DMCC Crypto Center and its new gaming center. So absolutely massive news, particularly for Dubai and also in the world of Metaverse as well. Now the second news is to do with art, and Mondor Gallery is bringing new era of art to the UAE, and the visual arts venue will be bridging the gap between traditional and digital art, and they officially opened in downtown Dubai, making a new era of art in the UAE. So absolutely brilliant stuff. Now the third newscast is about Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy, and they had a meaningful conversation where they were discussing metaverse and cryptocurrencies, and the workshop discussed ideation, opportunities, challenges, and ways to drive progress in the metaverse and the crypto fields. And guys, it's so great to know that governments and the sub-departments are definitely educating themselves in cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and metaverse. So absolutely brilliant stuff. Now the third news, guys, is an absolutely massive partnership, and this is between Terra Zero and Seed Group. And Terra Zero and Seed Group have formed a strategic partnership to accelerate Middle East business growth in the metaverse. And Terra Zero and the Seed Group will combine the efforts to streamline the onboarding of the enterprise business into the metaverse through Terra Zero's advisory development and deployment products and services. And Terra Zero, guys, is a Vancouver and Los Angeles-based technology company, and they have joined with Seed Group, which is a company of the private office of Sheikh Zayed bin Ahmed Al Maktoum, to further the reach and impact of Metaverse and accelerate its adoption in the regional technology space. So absolutely massive stuff. And the fifth news, guys, is to do with digital content creation, and digital content creation hub called Blinks has launched in Dubai. And Blinks, which is spelled as BLINX, which is B for Bravo, L for Larry, I for India, N for November, X for X-ray, will be equipped with Metaverse Extended Reality Studio. And Blinks, guys, will be equipped with Metaverse Extended Reality Studios and production facilities. Control rooms at the content creation hubs are also equipped with the latest live production tools, including AI-enhanced tools that analyze videos and data. And this is said by the official release. And guys, Dubai is definitely making quite a lot of news, particularly in the Metaverse. And one of the visions of Sheikh Hamdan is for Dubai to be the top 10 city in the world so far as Metaverse is concerned. And keeping all these news in mind and the initiative taken by the Dubai authorities such as the Dubai Police, the Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy, I wouldn't be surprised if Dubai will be the top 10 city in the world so far as Metaverse is concerned, along with Web 3.0 as well. So that's all for today, guys, on the Metaverse Everything podcast. And if you do have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com or info@area2071.com. You can also check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com and www.area2071.com. And guys, if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop them in the comments below. And if you like listening to this podcast, please give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes into Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And Monday to Thursdays, guys, we also have an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And what you're listening to right now is the Metaverse Everything podcast, which is a research-driven podcast focusing on educational and informational content about Metaverse and its impact. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a brilliant weekend ahead. Bye-bye.